Love is never easy, but it teaches us the true meaning of pain and resilience. This is a story of hearts torn apart, yet held together by the hope to heal. The Love That Tore Us Apart. Chapter 1. Rain-Soaked Beginnings. It was a stormy evening when Sid Thacker first met Aidan Walker. The small town of Darlington was drenched in rain, and Sid, hurrying back from her shift at the bookstore, had sought shelter under an old oak tree. That's when she noticed him, a man with a camera slung over his shoulder, his hair plastered to his face from the rain. "Some storm," he said, offering her a shy smile. "Some umbrella would have helped," she replied, trying to suppress a grin. That was the beginning. Aidan, a budding photographer with an eye for capturing the mundane in magical ways, began frequenting the bookstore. At first, it was to browse books, but soon it became clear he was there for her. Sid was no stranger to solitude. With her parents often away for work, she had grown up filling the silence with words. But Aidan brought something new, an ease, a joy, a sense of being seen. Their days quickly became filled with long walks, shared meals, and dreams whispered into the night. "I want to travel the world," Aidan said one evening, lying on the grass next to her. "And you? What do you dream of?" "Writing a story so powerful that people can't help but feel something," she admitted, her cheeks turning pink. "You already make me feel something," he murmured, and the warmth in his voice stayed with her long after the stars came out. Chapter 2. Fractures in Paradise. Their love story, however, wasn't destined to remain idyllic. Aidan's family carried a legacy of financial ruin. His father's failing business was a ticking time bomb, and the responsibility of saving it fell squarely on Aidan's shoulders. "I don't know what to do," he confided one night, his hands clutching his head. "If I stay, I lose my dreams. If I leave, I lose my family." Sid wanted to help, but Aidan's pride wouldn't let her. "I need to fix this on my own," he told her. When the call came that his father had suffered a stroke, Aidan knew he had no choice but to leave. The night before his departure, they sat by the river, the moonlight dancing on the water. "Promise me you'll come back," Sid whispered, her voice trembling. "I promise," Aidan said, holding her face in his hands. "But promises are fragile things." Chapter 3. Years of Silence. Aidan's departure left a void in Sid's life that nothing could fill. She threw herself into her writing, channeling her heartbreak into words. Her novel, Echoes of Us, became a sensation, touching hearts across the country. Yet, behind the accolades and success, she felt empty. Every letter she sent to Aidan went unanswered. Every attempt to reach him ended in silence. She convinced herself that he had moved on, that she was foolish for holding on to a love that had clearly left her behind. But the truth was far more complicated. Aidan, buried under the weight of his responsibilities, had lost himself in the chaos. The shame of his circumstances kept him from reaching out, even as he kept a tattered photograph of Sid in his wallet, a small piece of the life he had left behind. Chapter 4. The Unfinished Symphony. 5 years later, Sid found herself in London for a book signing event. The city was alive with energy, yet she felt disconnected, like an observer in someone else's story. As she signed copies of her book, a familiar voice stopped her cold. "Sid." She looked up, her pen frozen mid-signature. Aidan stood before her, his face older, but still achingly familiar. "What are you doing here?" she asked, her voice sharp with pain. "I've been looking for you," he said. Her heart ached at his words, but anger surged to the surface. For 5 years? That's a long time to look. I didn't think I deserved to find you, he admitted. I failed you, Sid. I failed us. Chapter 5. The Weight of the Past. The days that followed were a whirlwind of emotions. Aidan told her about the years he had spent trying to rebuild his family's life, the nights he had spent regretting his choices, and the songs he had written about her but never shared. Sid listened, torn between the love that still lingered and the pain that refused to fade. "Do you have any idea what it felt like to be abandoned?" she asked one evening. "I abandoned myself first," Aidan replied, his voice raw. "I was scared of being enough for you." Chapter 6. A Second Chance. Their story didn't have an easy resolution. Trust is a fragile thing, and Sid struggled to let Aidan back into her heart. But his persistence and vulnerability slowly broke down her walls. One evening, as they stood on the same bridge where they had once dreamed of their future, Aidan held out a small box. "It's not a promise I'll never hurt you," he said, his voice trembling. "But it's a promise I'll always fight for us." Sid took the box, tears streaming down her face. Inside was a locket with a photo of them together, a piece of the past he had carried with him all those years. "I'm scared," she admitted. "So am I," he replied. "But love was never meant to be easy." Epilogue: the love that tore us apart. Their love story wasn't perfect. It was messy, painful, and filled with scars, but it was theirs. Together they chose to write a new chapter, one where love was stronger than fear, and forgiveness was the bridge that carried them forward. For English learners, practice writing a continuation of Sid and Aidan's story. Use the dialogue to practice speaking and improve your pronunciation. Discuss. Do you believe love can heal any wound? Why or why not? Did this capture the deep pain and hope you were looking for?